So what was it like, first of all, being part of the judging panel and then seeing them sort of people voting on them this beginning of this tour tonight?
I think when I walked in, first of all, to be part of that judging panel, I had no concept of just what a remarkable project, what an inspirational idea this was. The designs had come from 24 countries, 130 something designs from all sorts of people, trying to express in architecture the inspiration of prayer. I mean, some of them were brilliant. Some of them perhaps were, you did wonder if they'd blow down in the wind, but we ended up with a final shortlist, which now there are feasibility studies being made on. But I think it was being on that panel and recognising, the calibre, the interest, the enthusiasm of my other judging panel members that made me realise that this is a wonderful idea. And not only that, but from all my 30 years on Songs of Praise, I've always been aware of the power of prayer, but I don't think that generally people realise just that God is with us, that prayer has power in everyday life, and sometimes those prayers are answered very quietly, sometimes they are very dramatically able to change people's lives, sometimes you don't recognise when the answer comes, and so it seems worth sharing real true life experiences of people who found that simply by praying, by opening their hearts to God, that change comes, change for the better.
How does it feel then tonight, beginning of this next phase, this tour, people voting on sort of what is going to be the final one? How does it feel to be involved in that tonight?
It's one thing, of course, for us to be planning it as a committee. It's another thing when we actually take it out on the road across the country to just find out from people all over the country just what they think of this idea. And the fact is that prayer is universal, and Christians in particular are well used to having a prayer relationship with God, and really want to share the fact that it has power, and that in their own experience at many points in their lives there's been a particular poignancy to prayers that have been answered, and really not only enhanced their relationship with God, but has helped them in their everyday lives.
How timely is this at the moment, with so much upheaval going on in this country, that people even more need to have that hope in answered prayers?
There's been a recent survey of just how Christians up and down the country feel about being Christian today, and the sad and quite alarming fact is that many of them feel they can't speak out as freely about being Christian as perhaps 50 years ago people just took it for granted that you were. And I think that one of the wonderful things about Christians is that they are very accepting. They always hold out a hand of friendship, and they welcome neighbours and friends, and it is a faith of love. And I think that they are very accepting of other people's opinions and other faiths, and respect them. But I think it's got to the point where sometimes our own faith is not respected enough, and we know how powerful the gospel of Christ is, and there's never been a time in our lives when it's been needed more than it is right now.
Final question, what's your hope and expectation of the impact this will have when it becomes a reality, and the fact that it will be around for many generations to come as well?
I think, having been involved in looking through the prayers that are coming in, and in fact compiling a lot of them into a book, I've had the great privilege of sharing a lot of those prayers and stories, and feeling the pain in some people that lead them to prayer, and the great joy and the trust in God after it, and how much they want to share it. I think when you multiply that by 1 million bricks, and you multiply it by all the visitors who are likely to come and have the experience of walking in and round the wall, however it looks in the end, I just think this is the start of something really wonderful.